Time is the only true currency we have in this life, and yet most people treat it as if it were unlimited. They guard their wallets, they protect their bank accounts, but they let their hours and days slip away without thought. The reality is that you can lose money and earn it back. You can lose possessions and buy them again, but you cannot retrieve a single second once it has passed. The clock does not stop for anyone. It does not pause to let you catch up, and it does not care about your excuses. Every tick is a transaction. Every moment is either invested in something that adds value to your life, or it is spent wastefully in ways that can never be redeemed. People often believe their wealth is measured in dollars, in gold, in property, but the greatest wealth any human being possesses is the 24 hours that come with each new day. How you use them defines the quality of your life, your relationships, your growth, and ultimately your destiny. Think about it for a moment. The richest billionaire in the world and the man who has nothing both receive the same amount of time in a day. There is no discrimination when it comes to time. It does not matter your status, your religion, your age, or your background. We all stand equal when the sun rises. What separates the successful from the unsuccessful, the fulfilled from the regretful, is not the amount of time they are given, but the way they choose to use it. Some people use their hours as stepping stones, placing one block upon another to build the structure of their future. Others allow their hours to dissolve into thin air, distracted, unfocused, giving their attention to things that yield no return. When you understand that time is currency, you begin to think differently about how you spend it. You stop saying yes to meaningless distractions. You stop giving away minutes to negativity, gossip, or endless scrolling. You begin to measure every choice not by how it feels in the moment, but by how it compounds over time. When you think about currency, you know the importance of investing. You wouldn't take your money and throw it into the wind. You wouldn't walk into the street, toss bills into the air, and watch them disappear. Yet people do exactly that with their time every single day. Hours vanish into television marathons, mindless conversations, and tasks that have no connection to their purpose. What is worse is that many are unaware they are doing it. They believe they are just passing time, as if time were something you could afford to pass. But time is not meant to be passed. It is meant to be used. Every moment that passes has the potential to bring you closer to your vision, to your goals, to the person you are becoming. If you treated each hour like it was a dollar that could never be replaced, you would be far more conscious of where it goes. There is a great misunderstanding that people fall into, and it is the illusion of abundance, because the day feels long, because the weeks roll into months. People assume they have more time than they truly do. They put off dreams. They delay action. They promise themselves tomorrow will be the day they start. But tomorrow never comes, because when it arrives, it becomes today, and the cycle of delay continues. This is how lives are wasted, not in dramatic losses, but in quiet postponements, in small daily choices where people fail to recognize the value of what they are letting slip away. When you begin to see time as the highest form of currency, procrastination loses its grip on you. You recognize that waiting is expensive, delay is costly, and hesitation is the price of regret. Even the language we use reveals our blindness. People say, I don't have time, as though time is something outside of them, withheld from them. But the truth is that we all have time. It is simply that we do not prioritize it. When someone says they don't have time to exercise, to read, to build their dream, what they mean is they have chosen to allocate their hours elsewhere. And that choice is an investment. It may not yield what they want, but it yields something: fatigue, lack of growth, a life left unfulfilled. To treat time as the only true currency is to take responsibility for how you spend it. It is to realize that every choice has a return. Spend your hours on distraction and the return is emptiness. Spend your hours on growth, learning, building relationships, and the return is richness of spirit, success, and fulfillment. What makes this even more powerful is that the value of time compounds just like money. A single hour studied today may not transform your life, but 1 hour a day for a year creates mastery. A few minutes of daily practice may feel small, but over time it builds a skill that can open doors and change your future. On the other hand, a few minutes wasted here and there seem insignificant, but compounded over months and years, they build into a mountain of missed opportunity. This is why treating time like currency is not simply about urgency. It is about vision. It is about seeing where your choices are leading you and deciding that your hours are too valuable to be traded for nothing. When you wake each morning, you are handed 24 golden coins, and they begin to slip through your fingers immediately. You can spend them consciously, placing them in actions that build your future, or you can scatter them carelessly, letting them vanish without meaning. But one truth remains. The coins will be spent, whether wisely or foolishly. They will be gone by midnight. The question is not whether you will spend your time, but how. And when you understand that time is the only true currency, you begin to live with intention, with purpose, and with a deep respect for the hours that shape your life. Most people go through life unconscious of how they are using their time. Not because they don't have enough of it, because they are not aware of the present moment. They live in a fog, moving from one activity to another, without realizing that each moment holds power. Each moment holds choice. The tragedy is not that time slips away, but that people let it slip without even noticing. They allow their days to be dictated by habits, routines, and distractions that steal their awareness. When you are unaware, hours disappear in meaningless repetition, and you don't even recognize what you have lost. The mind becomes preoccupied with the past, replaying mistakes, regrets, and memories that cannot be changed, or it races into the future, worry and planning, or imagining scenarios that may never happen. Meanwhile, the present moment, the only moment that is real, is ignored. Awareness is the secret doorway to power. When you become conscious of the present, you suddenly realize you are not a victim of time. You are a director of it. The moment you stop and pay attention, you see the truth. Every second is raw material. You can shape it into something valuable. But when you are unaware, your seconds are stolen without resistance. Think about how often people scroll on their phones, binge, watch shows, or drift into meaningless conversations. They tell themselves they are relaxing or passing time, yet in reality, they are surrendering their most precious asset. The danger is not only in the waste, but in the blindness to the waste. They don't recognize the trade-off because their awareness is absent. To live with awareness is to see time as it truly is. It means noticing how you spend your minutes, observing your patterns, and asking yourself whether what you are doing aligns with your goals and values. When you bring awareness to the present moment, you stop running on autopilot. You no longer live out a habit or react to every distraction. Instead, you begin to choose deliberately. That choice is where freedom lies. People think freedom comes from having unlimited options, but true freedom comes from awareness, because only then can you decide how to use the moment in front of you. Think of it this way. Awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. Without it, you stumble, you trip, you waste energy going in circles. With it, you see clearly where you are and where you can go. Most people are stumbling through their days without realizing the light switches within their reach. The busier the world becomes, the more essential awareness is. Distractions are louder than ever. Notifications, advertisements, endless content, all competing for your attention, all designed to steal the minutes you will never get back. If you do not guard your awareness, you will hand over your time unconsciously, piece by piece, until you wake up one day wondering where your life has gone. Awareness is not about perfection or never wasting a single moment. It is about noticing. When you notice, you can redirect. If you catch yourself lost in thought about yesterday's mistakes, awareness allows you to return to the present and use the moment productively. If you catch yourself drifting into an activity that adds no value, awareness gives you the choice to stop and redirect your energy into something meaningful. Without awareness, there is no choice. There is only reaction. With awareness, there is control. The truth is that life only happens in the present. The past is memory. The future is imagination. But the present is real. It is where your actions take place, where growth happens, where change is possible. To waste the present moment is to waste life itself. This is why awareness is so powerful. It reminds you that right now is all you truly have, and what you do with it matters. You don't need to wait for tomorrow. You don't need to wish for more time. You simply need to wake up to the time that is already in your hands. The more you practice awareness, the more time expands. Minutes that once disappeared unnoticed suddenly become opportunities. You begin to see that a single focused hour can be more valuable than a day spent unconsciously. You recognize the richness of small moments, reading a page of a book, having a meaningful conversation, taking a step toward a goal, and how they compound when chosen with intention. Awareness transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary because it reveals that every second holds potential. People often think they need massive amounts of time to create change, but it is not more time they need. It is more awareness. A distracted mind can waste a day and achieve nothing, while an aware mind can accomplish something significant in minutes. This is why some people seem to do so much with their time while others do so little. The difference is not the hours they have, but the level of awareness they bring to them. Awareness sharpens focus, and focus multiplies results. When you cultivate awareness of the present moment, you also begin to understand yourself more deeply. You notice the patterns that hold you back, the distractions that tempt you, the habits that drain you. That self-awareness is the foundation for change. You cannot shift what you are blind to. Once you see, you can decide. Once you are aware, you can act differently. It is like discovering a leak in your house. If you never notice it, the damage spreads quietly until it becomes a disaster. But if you become aware, you can fix it before it ruins everything. Time works the same way. Without awareness, you leak minutes and hours. With awareness, you protect and direct them. To live without awareness of time is to let life slip through your hands while you're looking the other way. To live with awareness is to wake up to the miracle of each moment and to use it with intention. Awareness transforms wasted time into invested time. It doesn't require more effort, just more attention. The second you become aware, you reclaim power. You take back control of your days, your actions, and ultimately your life. Every minute carries with it a hidden opportunity. And when that minute is wasted, the opportunity goes with it. Life is not simply about the passage of time. It is about what you do with the moments you are given. Because every moment holds a seed. And that seed can grow into something remarkable if it is nurtured. The law of opportunity is clear. Time invested wisely multiplies, while time wasted compounds into regret. You cannot see it immediately, because the impact of a single wasted minute is invisible. But as the days stretch into weeks, and the weeks stretch into years, the cost of those wasted minutes becomes undeniable. Opportunities are never destroyed. They are only transferred to someone else who was ready, someone else who was disciplined, someone else who understood the value of time. When you spend your hours in distraction, you are not simply losing time. You are losing chances that were hidden within that time. Every decision to procrastinate, to delay, to put off action is a decision to let go of a possibility that may never return. Opportunities are time sensitive. They have a window, and when that window closes, it rarely opens again in the same way. How many times have people said, I should have started earlier, or I wish I had acted when I had the chance? Those words are the echoes of wasted time. They are the proof that opportunities are not limitless. They show up when they show up, and only those who are ready to use their time wisely are able to catch them. Consider how small investments of time can multiply. A person who spends 1 hour a day learning a skill may not see much change in a week, but in a year, that's 365 hours of growth, and in 5 years, that is mastery. That's the multiplication of opportunity. On the other hand, a person who spends the same hour each day aimlessly browsing, gossiping, or escaping reality may not feel a loss in the moment, but over the same 5 years, they look back and realize nothing has changed. They are in the same place, not because life was unfair, but because they traded their opportunities for temporary distractions. This is the law at work. What you invest grows. What you waste decays. The compounding nature of time is powerful. Just like money left in the bank gathers interest, time invested in growth, relationships, and purpose builds a future that pays dividends. But just like debt grows with neglect, wasted time compounds into regret that becomes heavier and heavier as years pass. Many people don't realize they are living in that debt until they feel the weight of what they didn't do, what they didn't start, what they didn't chase when they had the chance. They look at others who seized the moment and wonder what the difference was. But the difference is simple. One person valued the opportunity within their minutes. The other assumed they had more time. Opportunities are also unique in how they disguise themselves. They rarely appear as something obvious. They often show up as small chances, little tasks, conversations, or decisions that don't look significant in the moment. A single meeting, a phone call, a book you decide to read, a habit you choose to build. All of these can become turning points. But if you waste the time that could have been given to them, you miss their hidden potential. That is why awareness and discipline are so critical. They allow you to recognize that even the smallest action done in the right moment can create a wave of opportunity. Wasting that action is like closing the door to a future that could have been yours. Think about the way successful people treat their time. They don't necessarily work harder than everyone else, but they are intentional. They understand that every minute is an investment, and they ask themselves whether what they are doing is opening doors or closing them. They don't waste hours on things that do not align with their vision. They know that saying yes to distraction is saying no to opportunity. It's not that opportunities don't come to everyone, they do. But only those who prepare themselves, who use their time wisely, are able to receive them when they arrive. The law of opportunity also teaches us that time is connected to readiness. When you are disciplined with your minutes, you are ready when doors open. When you waste your minutes, you may find yourself standing in front of an open door, but unable to walk through because you are unprepared. Opportunity doesn't wait for you to catch up. It rewards the one who has been preparing all along. That's why people who appear to be lucky are often simply those who were consistent with their time. They invested long before the opportunity showed up. So when it arrived, they were ready to seize it. Others see it as chance, but it was never chance. It was the law of opportunity responding to how they used their time. Wasting time is more dangerous than people realize because you don't feel the loss instantly. It feels harmless in the moment, almost invisible. But it's like planting nothing in a garden. At first it looks fine, but as the seasons pass, you realize there is no harvest, nothing is grown, and the chance is gone. Opportunity works the same way. If you do not plant in the minutes you are given, you cannot expect a harvest later. The soil of time is always fertile, but it requires seeds of action. If you neglect it, weeds of regret will grow in its place. Every wasted minute is a missed opportunity, not just in what you could have achieved, but in who you could have become. Because time doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes you. Every opportunity you take builds your character, strengthens your skills, and expands your vision. Every opportunity you waste leaves you the same, stuck in patterns that lead nowhere. The law is unbreakable. You cannot cheat it. You cannot bargain with it. You can only choose whether you will use your time to multiply opportunities or to multiply regret. There is a dangerous trap many people fall into, and that trap is the confusion between being busy and being productive. On the surface, the two may look the same. Someone who is busy is always in motion, always doing something, always occupied. Their schedule looks full. Their days look packed. But when you step back and examine what all that business amounts to, you often find there is very little progress, very little achievement, and very little fulfillment. Productivity, on the other hand, is about results. It is about doing the things that actually matter, the things that move you closer to your vision, the things that bring real value into your life. Many people are drowning in activity, but starving for accomplishment because they have never made the shift from business to productivity. Business is deceptive because it gives you the illusion of progress. It makes you feel as though you are moving forward, when in reality you may just be running in circles. People stay on their phones answering emails all day, going from one meeting to another, checking off endless to-do lists. But if those actions are not connected to purpose, they are just noise. It is like rocking in a chair. You're moving, but you are not going anywhere. Productivity is the opposite. It is quiet, it is focused, and it is intentional. It doesn't require that you do more. It requires that you do what matters most. The difference between the two is not in the number of hours spent working, but in the clarity of where those hours are directed. To shift from business to productivity, you first have to become brutally honest with yourself about where your time is going. Ask yourself, does what I'm doing right now bring me closer to my goals, or is it just filling space? Productivity is not about filling time. It is about creating results. It is about choosing the tasks that have the highest impact and putting your energy into them. Many people waste precious hours on activities that look urgent but are not truly important. They confuse motion with meaning, and they mistake exhaustion for progress. You can be busy from sunrise to sunset and still not have taken a single step toward the life you want. One of the reasons people cling to business is because it feels safe. If you are constantly busy, you don't have to face the deeper questions about whether you are actually creating the life you want. Business becomes a shield, a way to avoid confronting the discomfort of focus, discipline, and intentional growth. But that shield eventually becomes a prison because no matter how busy you are, time still passes and the opportunities still slip away. Productivity requires courage. It requires you to say no to many things so that you can say yes to the right things. It requires you to stop hiding behind business and start owning your time. When you look at the people who accomplish great things, they are not necessarily the ones who do the most, but they are the ones who focus the best. They know the difference between being active and being effective. They don't try to do everything. They do the right things. They don't scatter their energy in 1,000 directions. They channel it into a few priorities that create the most significant results. That is the essence of productivity, concentration of effort on what matters most. Business often keeps people trapped in the small details of life, the things that consume time but don't transform life. Productivity, however, pulls you into the bigger picture. It forces you to align your actions with your vision. It demands that you constantly ask, is this worth my time? Is this leading me closer to the person I want to be, the goals I want to achieve, the life I want to live? If the answer is no, then all the activity in the world will never make up for it. Productivity is not about speed. It is about direction. You can run fast, but if you are running in the wrong direction, you are only getting further from your destination. The shift from business to productivity also requires discipline. Productivity doesn't happen by accident. It requires you to plan, to prioritize, and to protect your focus. It requires you to understand that your time is limited. And because it is limited, you cannot afford to scatter it everywhere. You must be selective. You must decide what deserves your attention and what does not. Every yes you give is also a no to something else. Every hour spent on something unimportant is an hour stolen from something that could have transformed your life. That is why productivity feels so different from business. It is guided by intentionality. Another key difference is energy. Business drains you because it scatters your energy in too many places. Productivity energizes you because it directs your energy toward meaningful progress. When you are productive, you end the day with a sense of fulfillment because you know your actions mattered. When you are merely busy, you end the day exhausted but empty because all your effort didn't really move you forward. This is why people who work fewer hours but focus on the right tasks often achieve more than those who stay constantly busy but lack direction. In truth, the world rewards productivity, not business. No one remembers how busy you were. They remember what you achieved. No one values the number of hours you spent occupied. They value the results you created. Business may impress people in the short term, but productivity leaves a legacy. The more you shift your focus toward productivity, the more you realize that life is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right things with excellence. Your future is not built in one giant leap. It is built in the small moments that seem insignificant at the time, but quietly accumulate into something massive. Every single day, you are laying bricks, whether you realize it or not. The way you use your hours, the choices you make in the quiet moments when no one is watching, the habits you repeat day after day, these are the forces shaping your future. People often imagine their destiny being defined by one big break, one massive opportunity, one defining event. But in reality, destiny is created in the consistent patterns of daily living. What you repeatedly do, what you repeatedly choose, what you repeatedly give your time to forms the foundation of your entire life. The truth is that nothing changes overnight. Success does not arrive in a single moment, and failure does not happen in an instant either. Both the results of countless small decisions. A person who spends a few minutes each day growing, reading, practicing, and investing in themselves is building a future that will be radically different from the person who spends those same minutes distracted, careless, and unfocused. The difference is not visible at first. In the early days, it may even look as if nothing is happening. But time is always keeping score, and it always reveals the truth. The habits you build today will either serve you or sabotage you in the years ahead. Think about how compound interest works with money. You invest a small amount consistently, and over time, it multiplies into something far greater than the original deposit. Time works in the same way with your actions. The effort you put in today may seem small, but it compounds. If you write a page every day, at first it seems like nothing. But at the end of a year, you have a book. If you save a little money each week, at first it seems insignificant, but years later it becomes wealth. If you exercise for 20 minutes a day, it may look minor, but over months and years it transforms your body and your health. Every small action carries with it a ripple that expands into the future. What seems tiny now becomes enormous later, and what seems unimportant today becomes the very thing that defines tomorrow. People often overestimate what they can do in a short period and underestimate what they can do over a long period with consistent effort. They chase big results fast and give up when they don't see instant progress. They fail to recognize that their future is being sculpted in the quiet persistence of daily discipline. One skip day doesn't ruin a future, but a pattern of neglect surely will. One wasted hour may not seem damaging, but repeated over time, it builds into a lifestyle of wasted years. Your future is hidden in the decisions you make each day, which means you are always either building it or breaking it. It is also important to understand that your future is not shaped by the dramatic moments, but by the ordinary ones. It is shaped when you choose to get up a little earlier, when you choose to use that spare hour wisely, when you decide to say no to distractions and yes to growth. These moments don't look spectacular, but they are powerful. Small, consistent victories create the momentum that leads to big breakthroughs. Without them, the breakthroughs never come. That is why you cannot afford to dismiss the importance of the present. The way you live today is the blueprint for how you will live tomorrow. Your habits are the architects of your future. Whatever you repeat daily is designing the structure of your destiny. If you repeat discipline, consistency, and focus, you are building a future of strength, success, and fulfillment. If you repeat laziness, distraction, and procrastination, you are building a future of regret, frustration, and wasted potential. The choice is always yours, and it is being made not once in a lifetime, but every single day in the way you use your hours. The beauty of this truth is that no matter where you are right now, you can begin building differently. The past may be filled with wasted moments, but the present is still in your hands. The future is not yet written, and you have the power to shape it through the small, consistent actions you choose starting today. It doesn't require perfection. It requires persistence. It doesn't require giant leaps. It requires steady steps. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, growth over stagnation, purpose over comfort, you are laying another brick in the foundation of the life you want to live. The greatest mistake people make is waiting for the right time to build their future. They think it will begin someday, when the conditions are perfect, when the opportunity arrives, when the circumstances align. But the truth is your future is already under construction. Right now in this very moment, what you do today is either strengthening the foundation or weakening it. There is no neutral ground. You are never standing still. You are either moving closer to the life you desire or drifting further away from it. The small choices, the small habits, the small moments are silently but powerfully shaping the person you are becoming and the future you are creating. Time has never managed anyone. It has always been people who must decide how to manage themselves within the time they are given. The clock is neutral. It moves at the same pace for everyone, second after second, minute after minute, hour after hour. It does not slow down because you are tired. It does not speed up because you are busy. It does not wait because you are undecided. The power lies not in time itself, but in the decisions you make with it and the discipline you bring to those decisions. Many people live under the illusion that they are victims of time, that they simply do not have enough of it. But the truth is that they have failed to take responsibility for managing their priorities. It is not about managing hours. It is about managing choices. What you decide to give your focus to determines whether your time becomes an investment or a waste. Decisions are the architects of your schedule. Every yes you give is also a no to something else. If you say yes to distractions, you are automatically saying no to progress. If you say yes to procrastination, you are saying no to opportunity. If you say yes to things that do not align with your vision, you are saying no to the things that could build your future. This is why decision making is so critical. The quality of your decisions shapes the quality of your life. People often overlook this truth because they think big changes come from dramatic, once in a lifetime choices, but most of the time, it is the small daily decisions that shape destiny. The decision to get up early and use that time for growth. The decision to spend an hour learning rather than wasting it. The decision to move forward even when you don't feel like it. These are the moments where lives are built or broken. Discipline is what makes those decisions stick. It is easy to decide in a moment of motivation, but it is discipline that carries you forward when the motivation fades. Discipline is the bridge between intention and accomplishment. Without it, even the best decisions remain wishes. With it, even the smallest decisions grow into powerful outcomes. Discipline means training yourself to follow through, to do what you said you would do, even when comfort calls you away from it. It is the inner strength to resist the pull of ease and distraction in order to honor your vision. Without discipline, time will slip away through your fingers, scattered into tasks that add nothing to your future. With discipline, every moment becomes a building block of progress. The reason so many people feel as though time controls them is because they live reactively rather than proactively. They react to notifications, to demands, to other people's priorities. And by the end of the day, they wonder where their hours went. They never decided in advance what truly mattered, so the world decided for them. But when you set your priority, when you make conscious choices about what deserves your attention, you take control. You begin to use time instead of being used by it. You begin to live on purpose instead of drifting through habit. Discipline and decision making are the tools that transform time from a thief into an ally. It is important to realize that discipline does not restrict your freedom, it creates it. When you discipline yourself to manage your time wisely, you gain freedom from chaos, freedom from stress, freedom from the regret of wasted days. Indiscipline may feel free in the moment, but it always costs you more later. Lost opportunities, lost growth, lost potential. Discipline is the price you pay up front so that you can reap rewards later. Every time you discipline yourself to choose wisely, you are essentially buying back your future. You are trading temporary comfort for lasting fulfillment. The habit of managing time through decisions and discipline also builds confidence. Every time you make a decision and stick to it, you strengthen your belief in yourself. You prove to yourself that you are capable of controlling your life rather than being controlled by it. This builds momentum, and momentum creates power. When you know you can trust yourself to honor your decisions, you stop hesitating. You stop doubting, and you begin moving forward with clarity. On the other hand, every broken promise to yourself weakens that confidence, making it harder to follow through the next time. This is why consistency and discipline is so crucial. It is not just about the action itself. It is about the identity you are building. When you look at the people who achieve the most with their time, they are not the ones with the most hours. They are the ones with the clearest decisions and the strongest discipline. They have learned that success is not about being busy. It is about being focused. They have trained themselves to guard their time the way others guard their money, because they know that once it is spent, it is gone forever. They recognize that excuses will always be available, but time will not. That recognition pushes them to act with urgency, to decide with clarity, and discipline themselves with consistency. Every day is a test of decisions and discipline. Each morning, you are handed 24 hours, and what you do with them is entirely up to you. You can decide to waste them, or you can decide to use them. You can discipline yourself to follow through, or you can let the hours slip away. But make no mistake, whether or not you decide consciously, decisions are being made. Whether or not you choose discipline, patterns are being formed. And over time, those patterns become your life. The clock does not care what you choose, but your future certainly will.